Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 20 of Get Real with Rajiv. And like every single episode, we're going to be answering 4 questions in today's episode, and Avinash is going to be the voice of your questions. So Avinash, shoot the first question.
This is from Muhammad Ali on LinkedIn. One of my employees taking my clients by playing a game between me and my client.
Okay, so Muhammad Ali, you have the challenge of a team member who, based on what I hear of your question, is trying to play a game with your client. I don't really know what that game means, but what I'm guessing is that he's trying to circumvent and take the client and go direct and start working with the client. And your question is, what should you do in such a case? Well, in such a case, Muhammad Ali, if you have clear, tangible evidence that this person is trying to circumvent and creating some kind of a misunderstanding between you and your client, then the simplest thing to do is let go of such a team member. Please understand this. As entrepreneurs, some of us are unnecessarily holding on to people who do not have their heart connected to our workplace, who do not have the right mindset and the right ethical values to be at our workplace. You cannot have someone on your team who you cannot trust, because you can't go to work and see that person who you can't trust and expect them to get work done. That would be stupidity. So make the important yet the difficult decision of letting that person go if you feel that that person ethically does not align with the value system of your organization, and if you feel that that person is actively creating some kind of a damage between your relationship with your clients. Now, in the process, if you have to lose the client, okay, then please be okay with that as well. Okay, if you have the opportunity to clarify with the client whatever misunderstanding is there, please go ahead and communicate that without thinking about what the client would think about, because you want to release that out of your system and make sure that you have put all your cards on the table. But if you feel that the client and the team member have become hand in glove and they're continuing to do whatever they have to do, then just let go of both the client and the team. It's not worth it to waste your energy on such people. Please understand this. For an entrepreneur, the biggest asset is their own energy, and anything that's draining your energy, cut away from that and focus on getting new clients and building more ethical, aligned team members rather than brooding over why this person is doing what they are doing. So I would say communicate. Second, take the decision to let that person go. And third, just move forward, my friend. Don't have sleepless nights over such a trivial issue. Just move forward with that. So that is my recommendation, Mohammed. Avinash, what's the second question?
The question is from Samriddhi Saxena on YouTube. How to split or distribute percentage when starting a business? What factors should we keep in mind?
Well, Samrita, you've asked me a pretty common question that anybody who's starting up has. And in all honesty, there is no real formula to this entire thing on how do you split equities between co-founders and partners. In most cases, it's mutually agreed upon. If there is one method that I believe in, then I would say evaluate on the roles of the partners. So firstly, you need to have clear roles of who will handle what part of the business. Someone may handle the operations part of the business, someone may handle the marketing or sales part of the business, someone may handle the product development side of the business, and you got to attach a weightage to these components that will help in putting the business together. And once you attach the weightages, this has to be mutually discussed and agreeable to everybody who is becoming a co-founder with you in that business. But if you're a lone founder and you're thinking about how you give equity to your team members, then you got to have a loyalty parameter, because they have to prove their loyalty to the organization for a certain number of years. You have to have a result parameter in terms of what kind of results you expect that person to produce. You got to have a competence parameter in terms of what level of capability the person should be at so that they deserve an equity. So if you're a lone founder looking at distributing equity over a period of time, so create your criteria based on these parameters of loyalty, results, and competence. But if you're starting a business and you're a bunch of friends and trying to figure out what's a fair way of distributing equity, in most cases it has to be mutually agreeable and based on the weightage of the role that each person is going to be playing. And you also have to factor in, just in case you're looking at raising a round of investment over a period of time, you got to also factor in that equity you should should keep aside for that investment, and how you would dilute that from each one of your stakes. So these are key questions for you to answer, Samruddha. There's no real science to this. It has to be mutually agreeable. That's the key word. So please keep that in mind and give weightages based on roles and contributions, so that it never ever occurs to a person that they're doing more than what they are actually receiving. It has to be fair play, and as people you got to kind of discuss that and figure it out for yourself. So that would be my approach, Samruddha. Avinash, what's the third question?
Third question is from Jyoti Singh on YouTube. There are a lot of trainers in the country. As we know, training industry is growing. But in India, trainers have no speaking engagement. If they do Facebook ads, it's a huge investment and no prediction of how many people will show up in your seminar because you're a new face. I also think we are selling intangible aspects so that it takes a lot of energy to convince people. Also, several people do TTT, QL and business coaching, but very few people are known name and doing the training business with dignity and earning handsome amount by creating value. What do you suggest to become world-class trainer like D. Martini, Robin Sharma, Les Brown, Rajiv Talreja, Vivek Bindra and many more?
Okay, Jyoti, that's a long question that you asked me. So I'll break that question down into multiple parts. So let me pick what I could recollect from that question. The first element of that question is that the training industry is growing, but a lot of trainers do not have opportunities, and spending on Facebook ads seems to be like a risky exercise without knowing how many people would show up. Well, if you're not willing to take that risk, then you shouldn't be in this business. Well, there is nothing called as an easy business. So you need to understand, you got to do what's hard. And probably for a lot of trainers and coaches, investing that money in marketing their seminars is the hard thing to do, and they got to do it anyway. You can't escape that reality. There's no prediction on how many people would show up to anybody's seminar, but people take that risk on, and that's how you got to build every business. So don't run away from that risk. That's the first part. The second part you asked is, a lot of people are doing train the trainer programs. They're attending Harvard's Quantum Leap program or taking up business coaching, but very few of them are turning into brands and names and making a good amount of money. Well, the answer to that is, it's a process, Jyoti. And this is where I have a huge disagreement to the mindset of certain people who are investing in attending training programs or hiring coaches for themselves. Some people come in with the mindset that if I do this training, I'll start making X amount of money. No. You got to do that training because you got to have that knowledge. And if you don't have that knowledge, you don't have the legs to stand and build your business on. So do those trainings, hire those coaches so that you gain that knowledge and support, and understand that it's a process of building, which means you cannot escape from investing in those kind of programs of train the trainers or any other coaching programs that you may need, because that's knowledge missing in your life and you need it. You can't escape it. The more you delay gaining knowledge, the more you delay your own success. Having said that, gaining those knowledge or attending those programs does not mean you'll become an overnight success. That's where there's a misconception. I've heard people say this, oh, I did this train the trainer program, but I did not make any money. Dude, it takes a decade to make money. And this is where people who are in it for the short term with this petty mindset of jaldi paisa bana lenge, they get wiped out because they're not in it for the long term. For you to become somebody in any industry, not just the training and coaching industry, you got to be in it for the long term, which means you got to decide, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it work. But if you come in with the mindset of, I invested 3 lakhs in this coaching, thinking that it will help me make so much amount of money, no coaching will help you make any amount of money, my friend, unless you are willing to do the work and unless you understand that it's a process. So that is something you got to keep in mind. Another tangent to your question is that people don't come because you're not a known face. Well, exactly. So please understand, you have to build the credibility. How do you build the credibility? You build credibility by creating success stories. And again here, people have the short-term mindset where they say, I did a seminar, no one came. Even if 5 people came, can you turn them into a success story? Do you have the patience and the commitment to handhold such people and produce a result? Because you are as good as the results you produce for your customers. You may think you're a great trainer, you may think you're a great coach. It means nothing to the world. As long as you are not able to showcase impact, you are a nobody in this industry. So be willing to work your way around. That's the process. Creating success stories, marketing them. Creating more success stories, marketing them. Creating more success stories, marketing them. So it's a game of creating impact as well as marketing your brand. It's both. Some people are just marketing and they don't have any substance, no impact to showcase. So obviously they end up being scams. Some people have great impact, but they're not marketing. So they're sitting at their home waiting for the world to come to them, behaving like sincere victims, saying people are not interested for their own betterment. I can make so much of a difference. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to come searching after you. So it's a balance of creating an impact and then marketing yourself. And now coming to the last part of your question, how do you become a brand like a Dr. John D. Martini or a Les Brown or the other names that you took? Thank you for taking my name as well in that. I want you to understand this. None of us are an overnight success. Most people think, oh, Rajiv did trainer program. He did making the stage. He did this and he made the money. No. Before I did all of this, there was 10 years of corporate training that I did where it did not work out for me financially. I was very good at what I did, but I did not get paid well, but I did it anyway. So please understand, there's nothing called as an overnight success. You need these trainings, you need these knowledge, you need these coaching to accelerate that process for yourself. But please understand, you still have to go through the process. Unless and until you're not willing to go through the process, you cannot make a name or you cannot create a significant business in any industry, leave alone the training and coaching industry. So my only advice to you, Jyoti, is two things. Number one, continue investing in your education. Stopping your investment in your education is not an option in this industry. So you've got to continue investing in your education, knowing that you need to gain that knowledge. Number two, keep taking action, serving more and more people, create more and more impact, do more and more marketing, and go through the process. Don't get disheartened saying only 5 people came, only 10 people came, only 20 people came. All of us have gone through that process, and that's why today we sell out in our programs. So go through the process is all I would say, Jyoti. I hope that added value to you. Avinash, let's go to the fourth question.
The next question is from Bhavin Karia on YouTube. My team started with full of freshers, and when I'm trying to bring in experienced people on the team on higher salaries, that's just not working with the old team. How do we resolve this?
Okay, so Bhavin, what I understand is you started with a bunch of freshers. They've helped you build a business to a certain point. Now you're bringing professional expertise by paying higher salaries, and these older staff that have been along with you are now resisting this newer stuff which comes with professional capabilities and competencies. Well, that's a classic challenge. It's called legacy staff. So here is what I would say, Bhavin, this is what you need to do. You need to have a conversation with your older staff and help them identify gaps, capability gaps within the existing team. And then take a joint decision to fill those capability gaps by hiring new people. This way, what you have done is you've engaged them in the decision-making process of bringing in new talent, and therefore their resistance is low and they are not seeing the new talent as a threat to them. Having said that, you also got to open up the older team's mindset to understanding that, hey, we've done whatever we've done based on our own hard work, based on our own work ethic, but we probably do not have the required technical knowledge or know-how which the external people have. So we got to leverage that for the betterment of the business. So you really got to create that environment of ownership with your older staff so they don't look at the newer staff as a threat to themselves. And while you're hiring the newer staff at a higher salary, you got to prepare such people to come in and first win the hearts of people before they start showcasing the brilliance of their head. Now what happens is when you hire people at a high salary, they come in with the mindset of wanting to prove their worth. And because they come in with this mindset of wanting to prove their worth, they come in and they say everything here sucks, which automatically becomes a threat to the older staff. So there is a divide then and there. So you got to coach both these groups within the organization to understand that how do we actually come together. We cannot disregard or disrespect the past. At the same time, we cannot let the past control the future and not allow the fresh ideas to come into the business. So it's a game of balance, and you got to actually put this problem out to your team and tell them how do we respond to such situations, and coach the new staff to say, hey, when you come in, first get the heart in and then showcase your expertise to us, and let's do it as a team. So that is a very, very fine line that you need to make sure that your team is walking on both sides, the older ones as well as the newer ones, Bhavin. I hope that answer serves you and you are able to take that next action of creating that communication with your older staff at least so that they don't resist the new know-how. So with that, we come to the end of episode number 20 of Get Real with Rajiv, and now is the time for us to pick a winner for this week. So Avinash, indicate with your fingers question 1, 2, 3 or 4. Which one do you think deserves to win? Don't say it, okay? So Avinash picks a certain number and I think I will go with that number. So this time the winner for this week is going to be Samriddha Saxena. Samriddha Saxena, you have won the book Lead or Bleed for this week, which is episode number 20 of Get Real with Rajiv. Thank you so much for asking that question of how do you distribute equity and how do you allocate equity. I know for a lot of aspiring and newly started entrepreneurs, that's a question where they go blank and it becomes a little awkward and tricky for them. So thank you for asking that very, very intelligent question, Samruddha. So my team is going to reach out to you and we're going to get you a copy of my book Lead or Bleed. Enjoy the read, and for those of you watching, ask more questions in the comments below so that we can answer more questions and add more value to more people. With that, this is Rajiv Talreja signing off from episode number 20 of Get Real with Rajiv.